Welcome to Comprehensive Current Affairs for Civil Services Mains and Prelims presented by Narayana IAS Academy. Liquidity Crisis. The liquidity crisis in India has three principal players. Firstly, the banks and mutual funds who are the big players here. Secondly, the NBFCs and the microfinance institutions who are smaller and medium players. And finally, the companies who take loans from these two institutions for their development. However, ever since IL&F has defaulted on commercial paper, these two lenders are on the edge. Recently, additional 1 lakh crore worth of commercial paper is up for redemption. This is causing a lot of concern. The reasons for the concern are, firstly, the loans taken by NBFCs and microfinance institutions from the banks and mutual funds have repayment period of only 90 days. That is, they have to immediately repay the money back. Secondly, since there is a liquidity crunch and we are approaching the festival season of Diwali, where the loans are in high demand, there is a concern that the interest payments, the interest rates charged for these loans will be high, and also the small and medium institutions will lose out to bigger banks. Anticipating the liquidity crunch, the Reserve Bank of India has released 40,000 crore worth of currency into the market to finance the deficit. In addition to this, Financial Stability and Development Council has said that the liquidity situation in India is not as serious as predicted. Let us learn something about Financial Stability and Development Council. This is important for both prelims and mains point of view. The Financial Stability and Development Council has been constituted via Government of India notification. That is, this body is neither constitutional nor a statutory body. The Council's objective is to deal with issues relating to financial stability. Increase in high inflation, high current account deficit, and a lot of NPAs are all comes under the ambit of financial stability. Secondly, it is financial sector development. That is, recently we have seen the coming of payment banks, small finance bank. This comes under second objective. Third is it has the responsibility of interregulatory coordination. Sometimes in the back we've seen a dispute between Insurance Regulatory Development Authority and the SEBI on how to use the money that the insurance and the pension funds have aggregated. Therefore, that dispute was solved by FSDC. Along with it, improving financial literacy and financial inclusion is also one of the objectives of FSDC. Now let us see the composition of the body. The council is chaired by Union Finance Minister and its members are Reserve Bank Governor, Financial Secretary, Department of Economic Affairs, Secretary, Department of Financial Services, Chief Economic Advisor, SEBI, IRDA and PFRDA chairpersons. Birthright citizenship to end. Slavery is a very important issue in United States of America. African slaves are trafficked from their homeland to US. They then did not enjoy any rights or laws to protect them. To keep them away from their lives, slaves were not given any kind of citizenship. However, after the Civil War in 1960, the concept of jus soli was introduced. Under this concept, all persons born or naturalized in the United States of India and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are declared as citizens of United States of America. However, the American president says that this provision is being misutilized. Many illegal migrants are coming into their country. They are reproducing children who then act as an anchors for them to get their citizenship. This is said to be causing problems for their country. Therefore, Donald Trump resolves to end the birthright citizenship immediately. How does this concern India? Recently in the news, we have seen that Indians are also the fastest growing illegal immigrant group in United States of America. Nearly 5 lakh illegal Indians are living illegally in USA. Some are students who have overstayed their visa, skilled job seekers trying to remain in a high wage market, and a section of these illegal migrants were also trafficked. These illegal migrants will not be able to enter or get citizenship to USA using birthright citizenship. EU to ban antibiotics. Antibiotics is a very sensitive issue. The usage of antibiotics in animal and bird farms is said to be the leading cause of growing antibiotic resistance. The farmers use a cocktail of antibiotics, not one, but many high-end antibiotics like colistin, etc., to prevent diseases like avian influenza, bird flu. At the same time, they also use it to promote growth. This is such a big problem that 70% of all the antibiotics produced in United States are used in farms and not for people. These antibiotics are used to prevent diseases, we have already discussed, but why? Instead of maintaining hygiene, instead of giving good food to these animals and birds, they use antibiotics to prevent the disease. Therefore, to solve this problem, the European Parliament has approved ban on preventive mass medication in animals using antibiotics and other drugs. Hence, high-end or the last line antibiotics such as colistin will not be used in animal farms in European Union. The farmers will now have to adopt better farming and farm management practices to prevent diseases in these countries. What are developing countries doing towards antibiotic resistance? Developing countries such as South Africa has banned the use of colistin, and Bangladesh has banned the use of all antibiotics in animal and fish feed. What India needs to do? At present, the Bureau of Indian Standards recommends not using antibiotics with systemic action as AGPs in feed for animals and birds. However, this is just a recommendation and it is not mandatory. However, an expert panel set up by BIS to make restriction mandatory has not taken significant action so far. Secondly, there have been only deliberations in India in the need to restrict antibiotic growth promoters in the field. This antibiotic growth promoters are widely available with manufacturers, veterinary medicine dealers, and these are also sold online. And thirdly, a process for online monitoring of antibiotics in human and veterinary sector initiated by Central Drug Standard Control Organization is still on the back burner, even after 2 years after the launch of National Action Plan on Antimicrobial Resistance and Prevention of Antimicrobial Resistance for non-therapeutic antimicrobials. However, even today, the status quo remains. Global Soil Biodiversity Atlas. The Global Soil Biodiversity Atlas was released by World Wildlife Federation. This is very important for prelims as they can ask which organization releases Global Soil Biodiversity Index. You may get surprised that how wildlife deals with biodiversity. This is confusing, so please remember this. Now, firstly, let us read the definition of soil biodiversity. Soil biodiversity is generally defined as the variability of living organisms in soil and the ecological complexes of which they are part of. These are divided into main groups. First are microbes and microfauna, the mesofauna and the macrofauna. These increases in the size. So what does the report say? Report says that the Indian soil biodiversity is at the highest level of risk, which is creating a vulnerable situation for continuance of life itself. The main reasons are first the population pressure on the limited land resources of India. Apart from it, there are reasons such as pollution, nutrient overloading, overgrazing, intensive agriculture, fire and soil erosion, climate change, etc. NAREGA status report. NAREGA, the program is often considered as a dole and not as an empowerment measure or, or a measure which contributes to the development of economy. However, a recently released report on Press Information Bureau gives some facts on how NAREGA is contributing towards development of natural resources as well as eliminating poverty in India. Firstly, for the financial year 2018 and 19, 92% wage payments under NAREGA have been generated within the stipulated 15 days period. Secondly, the allocation of NAREGA increased to a record of 55,000 crores. Okay, this is the highest since the program started. And thirdly, and most importantly, natural resource management. Natural resource management consists of water conservation works, creating durable assets on farms, and a vast number of individual beneficiaries who can work on constructing their own poor households under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin. Independent evaluation studies have indicated the success of natural resource management in improving incomes of the workers, acreage of the area under cultivation, productivity of the farms, fodder availability for animal husbandry, and finally, it has also contributed to the improvement of water table, which is under critical position in many areas of India. Similarly, independent assessment of individual beneficiary schemes, especially for animal resources, has acknowledged their contribution to livelihood diversification. Livelihood diversification means that many of the daily wage earners in agriculture have gone into animal husbandry, and this has contributed towards poverty reduction in India. Thank you. See you tomorrow.